Love is not just an emotion, but a long journey full of challenges, learning, and growth. But do we really understand love, or are we just vague with ups and downs? They may not say it. They may not even show it. But that doesn't mean they don't feel it. Behind every silent nod, every calm expression, every "I'm fine," there's a deeper world within a man, full of hopes, fears, longings, and unspoken needs. Not because he doesn't want to share, but because he's learned not to. This isn't about decoding men. It's about understanding them, at a level where connection is real, and love becomes transformative. Let's explore the 7 quiet truths every man wishes you knew. Welcome to the channel, Sophia's Knowledge, and my name is Sophia. This is where we explore real stories, profound lessons, and valuable experiences about love. Today, in this video, Sophia will share with you 7 things men always expect but never say. If you have ever wondered about questions about love, don't skip this video. For the best experience, find a quiet place, put on your headphones and let yourself completely listen to what I am about to share. Relax, and let everything flow away. Let's find out with Sophia the secrets to help you live more fully in each relationship. Let's get started together. Rule number 1. Being valued and respected. There's a silent language that exists within every man, a language of unspoken hopes, emotional needs, and invisible vulnerabilities. At the very core of it lies something deeply human, yet rarely verbalized: the desire to be valued and respected. Respect isn't just about politeness or surface-level gestures. For most men, it is the emotional oxygen they crave in silence. It's not that they are incapable of expressing this need, it's that society, culture, and upbringing often condition them to suppress it. Men are taught to man up, to be the strong one, to never show weakness. So instead of speaking up, they simply hope their actions will be enough to earn it. And they hope their partner will see their efforts and say, in one form or another, "I see you. I value you." Let's break that down. Recognition matters more than you think. For many men, love is not just felt through words like "I love you," but through recognition of their efforts. When a man works long hours, fixes something around the house, takes care of responsibilities, or simply shows up, he's not always looking for praise, but deep down, a simple acknowledgement can mean everything. Saying something like "I appreciate what you do for us" may seem small, but it touches a place he doesn't often let others see. That recognition tells him that his efforts are not invisible. That his presence and actions have weight. That he matters. This doesn't mean he needs to be validated for every little thing. It means that, like anyone, he wants to feel seen, not just for what he accomplishes, but for the intention behind it. Respect isn't submission, it's emotional safety. Many people hear the word respect and associate it with power dynamics, one person controlling the other. But in the emotional world of relationships, respect is more about creating a space where both people feel safe to be themselves. For men, it's about knowing that they can lead when needed, share opinions without being dismissed, and express themselves without being judged or corrected. When a man feels disrespected, especially by his partner, it doesn't just bruise his ego. It strikes at his sense of worth. If his voice is constantly overruled, his intentions always second-guessed, or his capabilities questioned, it chips away at his inner confidence. Over time, he may withdraw, become emotionally distant, or feel like he's always walking on eggshells. Respect, to him, is not about domination. It's about trust. It's about feeling like his partner believes in his ability to contribute, to decide, to protect, and to care. He doesn't need to be a hero, but he wants to feel like one. Men don't need to wear capes to want to be someone's hero. Even in the quietest, most humble of men, there is often a yearning to matter deeply to someone. To be looked at not just with love, but with admiration. That admiration doesn't have to be loud. It could be in the way you look at him when he solves a problem. The way you thank him when he supports you. The way you lean into his presence when you're feeling lost. These subtle signals say, "You make a difference in my life." And for many men, that's more powerful than grand romantic gestures. Why this often goes unsaid. So why don't men just say this out loud? Why don't they express their need for respect and recognition? Because many of them have learned that vulnerability can be dangerous. Showing emotional need can be perceived as weakness. Admitting they want to be appreciated might make them feel needy or insecure, even when they're not. So instead, they keep going. They try to earn respect through actions, through responsibility, through being the rock. And when that goes unnoticed, it quietly hurts. What can you do? If you're in a relationship with a man, and you want to connect more deeply, start by simply noticing. Notice the things he does without being asked. Notice when he's tired but still shows up. Notice when he puts you first, even in small ways. Say thank you. Say I see you. Ask for his opinion, and really listen. Trust him to handle things, even if you do them differently. Let him know, in your words and actions, that he is not just loved, but deeply respected. And if you ever want to open a deeper conversation, ask him gently, "Do you feel like I respect and appreciate you?" You might be surprised at how much that question touches him. Men may not always ask for it. They may not even know how to. But beneath the surface, they hope for a kind of love that affirms who they are. That says, "You matter. You are enough. And I believe in you." Because being loved feels good, but being respected? That feels like home. If you found this video helpful, please share it with your friends or family to spread the value. And if you have any questions or ideas, leave them in the comments. I'm always listening and ready to answer. Let's continue together. Rule number 2. The need to feel needed. There is something deeply rooted in every man, a desire that doesn't often make it into words, but shows itself in actions, in body language, in subtle shifts in mood. It is the need to feel needed. Not out of ego, and not from a place of control, but from a yearning to be essential, to matter in the life of someone he loves. Many men don't talk about this. They don't walk into a room and say, "I want to feel like you need me." That would sound strange, even to their own ears. Instead, they hope for it. They hope to be leaned on. They hope to be trusted. They hope to be the person you go to when you're unsure, unsteady, or simply want someone by your side. This need doesn't come from weakness, it comes from purpose. And it is often the silent force that fuels their love, commitment, and desire to protect and provide. He doesn't want to be an accessory, he wants to be a foundation. In today's world, independence is celebrated, and rightfully so. Strong, self-sufficient women are reshaping the relationship dynamic, and that's powerful. But sometimes, in the push for independence, the message that reaches a man's heart is this: "I don't really need you." That message, even if unintentional, can hit harder than we realize. It's not that men want their partners to be helpless. In fact, most are drawn to strength and confidence. But what they do want is to matter. To be part of your equation. To know that their presence in your life isn't optional, it's meaningful. It's valued. It changes things for the better. When a man feels needed, he feels connected. He feels anchored. He's not just a spectator in your life, he's a participant. And that gives his role in the relationship weight. The need to contribute. Whether it's through physical acts, emotional support, or simply being someone you can rely on, men want to contribute. They want to fix things, offer solutions, or even just sit with you when there are no answers. That contribution is how many men express love. If he offers to help with something, it's not always because he thinks you can't do it, it's because helping gives him a way to be involved. A way to show that he cares. A way to feel like he's offering something of value. So when his gestures are brushed off too often, or when he's made to feel like he's in the way rather than part of the process, it can create a quiet distance. It may not start a fight. He may not say a word. But little by little, that sense of disconnection builds. Emotional access is a sign you need him. You don't have to rely on a man for everything. But letting him in emotionally is one of the most powerful ways to show that you do need him, not because you can't handle life alone, but because you want to share it with him. Telling him what's on your mind. Asking for his input. Letting him hold space for you when things are hard. These are the things that make him feel important, not in a self-centered way, but in a deeply human one. Men are often taught to be the ones who carry burdens, not the ones who are invited into them. So when you open up, when you say, "I want your support on this," what he hears is, "You matter to me." Your presence makes a difference. The danger of feeling replaceable. When a man starts to feel like he's not truly needed, like he's just another piece in the background, he may begin to emotionally withdraw. He might stay quiet, go along with things, but deep down, there's a growing sense of invisibility. No one wants to feel like they're easily replaceable. And for many men, the fear of being just another guy is a wound they carry but never name. It's not about grand declarations. It's about small, consistent signals that say, "You're not just here, you're irreplaceable." Letting him be there for you. One of the most beautiful gifts you can give a man is space to show up for you. Not because you can't handle things, but because love isn't about doing it all alone. Let him drive when you're tired. Let him carry the heavy bag, even if you could manage it yourself. Let him offer advice, even if you end up choosing your own path. These moments aren't about capability, they're about connection. When a man feels needed, he feels fulfilled. When he feels like his presence matters, he pours more of himself into the relationship. He listens more. He gives more. He becomes more present, more alive in the partnership. The bottom line. To feel needed is not to demand dependency. It is to be invited into someone's world and trusted to hold part of it with care. That's what most men are really looking for, not control, not praise, but significance. So if you love a man, show him that you need him. Not because you can't stand without him, but because you choose not to stand alone. That choice, when made clear, is one of the deepest affirmations he will ever feel. If you are still watching the video, do not hesitate to comment continue. Leave your thoughts and questions below in the comment section. I look forward to hearing your opinions, and do not forget to like and subscribe to the channel so that Sophia has more motivation to create more good and meaningful videos. Let's continue together. Rule number 3. Men don't like being compared. He may laugh it off. He may stay quiet. He may even pretend not to care. But when a man is compared, especially to another man, something inside him subtly shifts. Something closes. Something wounds. No one enjoys being compared. But for many men, comparisons don't just feel uncomfortable, they feel personal. They strike at the heart of a man's identity, self-worth, and the way he believes he is perceived by the person he cares most about. Men don't often speak this out loud. They rarely say, "It hurt when you said that," or "I feel like I'm never enough." Instead, they internalize it. They pull away. They carry the sting in silence. And over time, repeated comparisons, no matter how small or harmless they seem, can leave lasting scars on the relationship. Comparison undermines uniqueness. Every man wants to feel like he is your man, not just another version of someone else. When he loves you, he wants to be the one who brings value to your life in a way no one else can. So when you say things like, "My ex used to do this for me," or "Why can't you be more like him?" even if unintentional, it undermines the very thing he's trying to offer, his unique presence. He doesn't want to be better than someone else. He wants to be enough for you as himself. That's the difference. When you compare him, especially in moments of conflict or disappointment, what he hears is, "You're not measuring up." And that message, even if delivered casually, chips away at his confidence and emotional connection. Every man has his insecurities. Even the most confident men have places where they feel unsure, not enough, or vulnerable. Some hide it behind humor. Others bury it under work or withdrawal. But it's there. And comparisons often shine a harsh light on those hidden insecurities. When you compare him to someone who makes more money, who dresses better, who is more romantic or more manly, it confirms the very doubts he already wrestles with in silence. What makes it even harder is that he may not show you how much it bothers him. He might brush it off or say, "Whatever, I don't care." But he does. He just may not know how to express it without sounding weak, emotional, or dramatic, things many men are taught to avoid from a young age. The emotional distance it creates. One of the most damaging effects of repeated comparison is emotional distance. When a man feels like he's constantly being measured against someone else, he starts to detach. He may stop putting in effort. He may become defensive or passive. Not because he doesn't care, but because he feels like nothing he does will ever be quite good enough. This emotional withdrawal isn't always immediate. It builds slowly. But over time, it can turn a vibrant, connected relationship into a hollow partnership of surface-level interactions. What he needs is reassurance, not of his perfection, but of his place in your life. He wants to feel chosen, not just by default, but with intention. What happens when you build instead of compare? Now imagine the opposite. Imagine what happens when you build him up instead of breaking him down with comparisons. When you say, "I love the way you do this," or "No one makes me feel the way you do," you give him something powerful. You give him pride, confidence, and the energy to keep growing into the man he wants to be for you. Encouragement is not flattery. It is emotional fuel. It tells him that he's on the right path. That he's valued not for being perfect, but for being real, consistent, and uniquely himself. When a man feels seen and appreciated, especially by the woman he loves, he becomes more open, more motivated, and more willing to invest deeply in the relationship. He no longer fears comparison because he knows, without doubt, that he holds a unique place in your heart. Shifting the perspective. It's easy to fall into the trap of comparison, especially when frustrations arise. Maybe your friend's partner is more outwardly romantic. Maybe your ex was more expressive. Maybe that celebrity husband on social media planned an extravagant anniversary trip while yours forgot the date. But what you don't see are the full stories. What you do have is someone who shows up in real life, with flaws, effort, love, and presence. And when you shift your perspective from what he lacks to what he brings, you begin to see the value that was always there. Instead of "Why don't you do that?" try "It would mean a lot to me if you did this." Instead of "Other guys would," try "I love it when you." The difference in tone, intention, and impact is massive. The bottom line. Men don't want to be compared. They want to be chosen. They want to know that who they are, as they are, matters. They want to feel like they are enough, not because they're flawless, but because they are real, invested, and trying. And when they are loved without comparison, they rise. They grow. They thrive. If you love a man, don't compare him. See him. Appreciate him. And remind him, not with grand gestures, but with small consistent moments, that he is exactly where he's supposed to be, right beside you, fully enough, just as he is. Rule number 4. Men need personal space. It's not rejection. It's not distance. And it's definitely not a sign that he's falling out of love. When a man asks for space, or simply takes it in quiet ways, it's often misunderstood. But the truth is this: personal space is not a threat to intimacy. For most men, it's the very thing that helps them stay grounded in it. Every healthy relationship requires a balance between closeness and individuality. Men, like women, thrive when they feel both connected and free. The difference is that many men don't know how to communicate this need without triggering fear, insecurity, or confusion in their partners. So instead, they retreat. And the silence they create can feel louder than words. But what if we started seeing space not as absence, but as renewal? Men process internally. From a young age, many men are taught to internalize their emotions. They're told to deal with it, to man up, and to stay calm even when the world around them feels overwhelming. As a result, when life gets complicated, stress builds, or emotions swell, most men don't immediately look outward. They go inward. They need time to sort through their thoughts, to understand what they're feeling, and to recalibrate before they speak. This process doesn't mean they don't want to share or open up, it simply means they often need solitude to find the words first. Giving him space is not shutting him out. It's trusting that he'll return when he's ready, with more clarity, more presence, and more love. Space doesn't mean disconnection. One of the biggest misunderstandings in relationships is equating space with emotional distance. In reality, personal space is often what prevents disconnection. When a man feels like he can't breathe, when he's constantly expected to talk, to be available, to engage without pause, he may start to emotionally shut down. Not because he doesn't care, but because he feels overwhelmed and unable to recharge. Just as a plant needs water, but not drowning, a man needs love, but also room to stretch his roots. When you allow him to have time alone, to dive into his passions, to enjoy quiet moments or solo routines, you're not creating distance. You're honoring his individuality. And when he feels trusted with that freedom, he comes back with more to give. Masculinity and the need for independence. Part of male identity, especially shaped by culture and upbringing, is tied to autonomy. Men are often wired to feel strong when they're capable of handling things alone. While this can sometimes make them appear emotionally detached, it's not always about detachment, it's about restoration. For some men, going for a solo run, spending time in silence, working on a project, or even just zoning out for a while isn't avoidance. It's a way to reset, to feel like themselves again, so they can return to the relationship feeling whole. Being in love doesn't mean losing that independence. And when a man feels like he has to choose between being in a relationship and being himself, he may begin to pull away, not because he doesn't love you, but because he doesn't want to lose himself. Respecting space builds trust. When you respect a man's need for space, without guilt-tripping him or overanalyzing the silence, you send a powerful message: I trust you. You trust that his love isn't fading. You trust that his silence isn't rejection. And you trust that the relationship is strong enough to breathe. This kind of trust creates emotional safety. It shows him that he doesn't need to perform constant closeness to prove his commitment. He can be fully present when he's with you and fully himself when he's alone. And that balance, when nurtured, leads to deeper connection, not less. When space is healthy versus when it's a warning sign. It's important to note that there's a difference between healthy space and emotional withdrawal. Healthy space is communicated, temporary, and followed by reconnection. Withdrawal, on the other hand, is consistent avoidance without explanation. If your partner regularly shuts you out, disappears emotionally, or refuses to share anything meaningful, space may be masking a deeper issue. But if he simply needs a few quiet hours after work, time to decompress on the weekend, or a night to himself now and then, chances are, he's just trying to recharge, not retreat. The key is communication. If he can express, I just need a little time to clear my head, and you can honor that without fear, the relationship becomes stronger for it. What you can do. The best thing you can do is normalize space in your relationship. Talk about it openly. Ask him what space means to him, and share what it means to you. Find rhythms that allow you both to feel close and free. Encourage his time alone, and use it to reconnect with yourself too. When both partners feel whole individually, they show up more fully for each other. And when he returns from his space, greet him with openness, not suspicion. Let your presence be a soft landing, not a storm waiting to happen. The bottom line: men need space. Not because they want to be away from you, but because they want to stay connected to themselves. And the more they feel trusted and supported in that need, the more fully they show up, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually, in the relationship. So the next time he pulls back for a moment, don't chase. Breathe. Trust. Give him the gift of quiet, knowing he'll return, not out of obligation, but out of choice. Because real love allows room to breathe. And from that space, deeper intimacy grows. Rule number 5. He wants to be heard without being fixed. He's sitting across from you. Maybe he's finally opening up. Not about something dramatic, maybe it's work stress, a disappointment, or just the kind of inner frustration he doesn't usually talk about. You're listening, but your instinct kicks in. You want to help. You start offering advice. Solutions. A different way to look at it. And just like that, he shuts down. Not because he doesn't appreciate you. Not because he doesn't value your thoughts. But because, in that moment, he didn't need fixing. He just needed to be heard. For many men, this is one of the most misunderstood and unmet emotional needs in a relationship: the desire to speak, to be vulnerable, to process out loud, without someone immediately correcting, redirecting, or improving what they're saying or feeling. It may sound simple. But in a world that rarely gives men permission to feel, the space to speak without judgment or correction is sacred. Men are taught to solve, not share. Most men grow up being told that strength means solutions. That emotions should be managed silently. That talking about your feelings too much makes you weak, or at best, too sensitive. So by the time a man is in a relationship, he's often been conditioned to suppress, not express. When he finally does speak, it's already taken courage. Vulnerability, for him, isn't always natural, it's learned. So when he opens up and is immediately offered a better way to feel, think, or act, he doesn't just hear guidance. He hears, "You're not doing this right." And even though it may come from love, that correction, even if small, can feel like criticism. Listening is not the same as solving. This is not about never offering advice or insight. It's about timing. It's about knowing when he needs a solution, and when he simply needs space to say what's on his mind. When a man shares something emotional, what he often wants most is for his words to land without resistance. He wants to know he can be frustrated without being judged. He wants to know his feelings are safe with you, not something you'll try to change or fix. This doesn't mean you have to agree with everything he says. It just means you allow it to exist. You honor it. You don't rush to polish it into something neater or more acceptable. Because when he feels accepted in his rawness, he trusts you with deeper parts of himself. Why he pulls away when you correct him. Have you ever noticed how sometimes a man will start talking, get halfway through a thought, and then suddenly change the subject or say, "Never mind"? That's often a sign that he felt misunderstood, or preemptively judged. Maybe he was interrupted. Maybe he was met with logic when he was offering emotion. Or maybe he felt that you were listening more to respond than to truly hear. And the more this happens, the more likely he is to retreat. Not out of anger, but self-protection. Because for him, sharing feelings isn't casual, it's exposing. And if that exposure feels unsafe, he'll simply stop doing it. What he needs instead. Sometimes, all a man needs is your presence. Your attention. Your eyes, your silence, your hand on his when the words are heavy. Instead of responding with, "Here's what you should do," try saying, That sounds really tough. I'm glad you told me. Want to talk more about it? I'm here. Whatever you need. These small phrases can build more trust and intimacy than any advice ever could. They don't offer a solution, they offer solidarity. And for a man who's used to walking through life with a quiet weight on his shoulders, that solidarity means everything. When he's ready, he'll ask. This doesn't mean he never wants advice. He just wants it when he's ready. When he feels heard and validated first, he'll naturally open the door for more. What do you think I should do? Or, have you ever felt something like this? That's your cue. But let him lead. Remember, most men aren't used to emotional space being offered without strings. When you give it, you become someone he doesn't have to protect himself from. You become a safe place, rare, powerful, unforgettable. Creating a relationship where he feels free to speak. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to say the right thing every time. But if you can create a space where your partner feels seen and not judged, where he can process without being corrected, you'll be amazed at how much more he opens up. Men are emotional beings. They just express it differently. And when that expression is nurtured, not managed, it creates deeper connection, honesty, and intimacy. He doesn't need a fixer. He needs a listener. Someone who doesn't immediately try to lift the weight off his back, but instead, walks beside him while he carries it. That presence? That patience? It means more than you'll ever know. Rule number 6. He wants to be loved in his own way. Love doesn't speak just one language. It has accents, rhythms, and expressions that vary from person to person, and often, from man to woman. But here's the catch. In many relationships, men are expected to receive love the way we think they should want it, rather than the way they actually feel it. He wants to be loved. Deeply. Devotedly. But in a way that aligns with his emotional wiring, not someone else's expectations. Every man, just like every woman, has a unique way of feeling valued and emotionally connected. When those needs are overlooked, even in the most well-meaning relationships, love can begin to feel hollow, performative, or one-sided. But when love is delivered in the way he actually receives it, he feels seen. He feels chosen. He feels home. Love is not one size fits all. It's easy to assume that love looks the same for everyone: romantic gestures, deep conversations, physical affection, kind words. And while those things are beautiful and often universal, they don't land the same way for every man. Some men feel most loved through touch. Others through respect. Some light up when you support their goals or show appreciation for their efforts. Others feel safest when you laugh at their jokes, trust their decisions, or simply sit beside them in silence. The challenge? Many men don't know how to articulate this. They just know when something feels off, and often can't explain why they feel disconnected even when their partner is doing everything right. That's because love is not just about what you give. It's about how what you give is received. Society doesn't encourage men to explore their emotional needs. Women are often encouraged from an early age to explore emotions, express feelings, and seek emotional connection. Men, on the other hand, are often taught to be self-contained, stoic, and independent. So when it comes to love, many men haven't spent much time figuring out what makes them feel emotionally full. Instead, they've learned to suppress that need, mask it with humor or pride, or quietly hope that someone might just get it. But he does have a way he needs to be loved. And when a partner is curious enough to uncover it, not just assume it, it unlocks a depth of connection that many men have never experienced. Love may look less romantic but no less real. For some men, love isn't expressed through long talks or grand gestures, it's in the quiet things. Fixing something in the house. Taking care of you when you're tired. Holding you protectively in public. planning for your future, working hard to provide. To the untrained eye, these may not look like love. But to him, they are love. Likewise, he might not crave candlelit dinners or emotional conversations. He might crave your presence, your admiration, or your touch. He might feel most loved when you believe in him, when you speak proudly about him, when you let him lead or support you in the way he's wired to. When you ignore these love signals, or try to replace them with your own preferred methods, he may still stay. But he won't feel fully understood. And over time, that emotional misalignment can create quiet distance. Discovering his love language. One of the most impactful things you can do is learn how he receives love, not just how you like to give it. Ask him, when do you feel most loved by me? What do I do that makes you feel appreciated? Is there anything I could do more, or less, of that would make you feel more connected? He may not know how to answer right away. That's okay. Keep the question open. Watch what makes him light up. Pay attention to how he shows love to you, because that often reveals how he wishes to be loved in return. And when you start loving him in a way that's custom to him, his emotional guard softens. His loyalty deepens. His love flows freely. Love that honors his identity. A man wants to feel like he can be fully himself with you, without needing to change the core of who he is to receive love. That doesn't mean he's perfect or that growth isn't important. It means love should accept first, transform second. When you love a man for who he actually is, not who you wish he would become, he feels safe. And when he feels safe, he opens up in ways you've never seen before. Loving him in his way doesn't mean giving up your needs. It means understanding his emotional language so both of you can meet in the middle, where connection is richest and realest. The bottom line. Men want to be loved, not just passively, not just physically, but authentically. They want to feel seen for who they really are, not who they're supposed to be. They want their love to be received, and they want to receive love in a way that affirms their identity, not challenges it. When you take the time to discover how your man feels loved, and you begin to speak that language, not only does the relationship deepen, but you'll witness a version of him that feels fully alive, fully present, and fully yours. So don't just love him loudly. Love him right. In his way. On his terms. And watch how deeply, quietly, and powerfully he loves you back. Rule number 7. Men have moments of weakness too. He carries himself with confidence. He shows up when it matters. He provides, protects, solves, supports. To the outside world, he might seem unshakable. But behind the quiet strength, the calm voice, and the dependable presence, there are moments he doesn't show. Moments of self-doubt. Of exhaustion. Of loneliness. Of fear. The truth is simple, yet often overlooked. Men, too, have moments of weakness. Not because they are weak, but because they are human. And yet, most men have spent their entire lives being told to hide those parts of themselves. To tough it out. To stay strong. To not cry. To not feel too deeply. To never let anyone see them stumble. But just because you can't see it, doesn't mean it isn't there. The myth of the emotionless man. Society has conditioned men to wear emotional armor. They are expected to lead, provide, endure, without breaking down. Vulnerability, in many male circles, has been wrongly equated with failure or weakness. And so, even when they are hurting, struggling, or barely holding it together, most men will smile through it. Joke through it. Work through it. They might even love you deeply and still never show the storm inside. Not because they don't trust you, but because they've been taught that expressing emotion makes them less masculine. So they suffer silently. Not because they want to be distant, but because they don't know if the world, or even the person they love, can handle their unfiltered truth. The mask he wears isn't his identity. The strong face he wears isn't a lie, it's a survival mechanism. It's the result of years of conditioning, silent expectations, and unspoken pressure. But beneath that mask is a human being with tender emotions. He feels disappointment. He wrestles with insecurity. He worries about letting people down. He questions if he's doing enough, being enough, providing enough. There are days he feels small in a world that expects him to be big. Days he wants to cry but doesn't know how. Nights he lies awake wondering if he's allowed to be tired, or if admitting that would make him look weak. The irony? His desire to be strong, for you, for others, is proof of how much he cares. But even the strongest people need a place to rest. What he needs in his lowest moments. He doesn't need you to rescue him. He doesn't even need you to fix anything. What he truly needs is space to let the mask down without fear of judgment or loss of respect. He needs to know that when he finally says, "I'm not okay," you won't flinch. You won't question his manhood. You won't see him as less capable, less desirable, or less masculine. He needs to know that his vulnerability won't scare you, it will draw you closer. Because when a man lets his guard down, it's not a sign that he's giving up. It's a sign that he trusts you enough to be real. Recognizing the signs. Men don't always say it out loud. But their emotional strain shows in subtle ways. He's quieter than usual. He gets irritated over small things. He seems emotionally distant or distracted. He throws himself into work or routine to avoid thinking. He stops talking about the things that used to matter. These aren't signs that he doesn't care. They're signs that something's going on inside. And while he may not be ready to open up immediately, your patience and quiet support can mean everything. Sometimes, just saying "I'm here if you ever want to talk," or giving him space without pressure, can begin to open the door. Letting him break without breaking him. There will come a time when he'll feel like he's falling apart, whether because of external pressures, personal failures, or inner wounds you may never fully understand. In that moment, you have a choice. You can question his strength. Or you can remind him that being human doesn't make him less of a man. Let him be vulnerable. Let him cry. Let him question. Let him feel everything he's been taught to suppress. And then, when he's ready, let him stand back up, with your hand in his, not your expectations on his shoulders. Real strength includes softness. A man's ability to admit weakness is not a flaw in his armor, it's the foundation of his strength. True strength isn't in never falling. It's in allowing yourself to feel, to heal, and still rise. When you accept a man in his lowest state, when you hold him without needing him to be strong for you in that moment, you give him something the world rarely does: freedom. Freedom to be whole. Not just the provider, protector, achiever, but the flawed, feeling, fully human version of himself. And when he's loved in that state, unconditionally and without fear, he will never forget it. The bottom line. Men are not made of stone. Even the strongest among them have moments where life weighs heavy on their chest. But those moments don't make them weak. They make them real. If you can love a man not just in his confidence, but in his confusion, not just in his victories, but in his vulnerability, you won't just win his heart. You'll reach the part of him that very few ever get to see. So the next time he goes quiet, or tired, or lost, don't try to pull him out too quickly. Just stay close. And let him know, it's okay to not be okay. Even the strongest men need someone to lean on sometimes. Conclusion. Beneath every man's quiet strength lies a world rarely spoken. Not because he lacks emotion, but because the world rarely listens without demanding something in return: performance, perfection, control. This series isn't just about understanding men. It's about humanizing them. Too often, we look at men through the lens of what they do, what they provide, protect, or achieve. but rarely do we pause to ask what they need. Not in the loud, obvious ways, but in the subtle spaces where love, respect, and emotional safety truly live. Each of these 7 truths reveals something deeper, that men long for connection just as much as anyone else. That they want to feel respected, needed, accepted, and heard. That they crave love tailored to who they are, not who they're expected to be. And perhaps most of all, that they need room to be human, to fall, to feel, and to not always have it together. When we hold space for a man's unspoken needs, we don't just support him. We invite him to be fully seen. And in that place of genuine acceptance, something beautiful happens, the kind of intimacy that goes far beyond words. Because the strongest relationships aren't built on grand declarations. They're built on quiet understanding. And sometimes, loving a man means hearing what he doesn't say, but deeply feels. So that concludes today's video. Thank you for taking the time to watch until the end. I hope you found some valuable lessons and that these shares will help you on your love journey. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more interesting content in the future. I appreciate your support and I'll see you in the next videos. Wishing you love and happiness.